you for tuning in to another episode of Golden Llama Show. I'm Andy, your host. Today we have another amazing guest, Lori.
I am Lori Beard. Very happy and honored to be here, Andres, and with some passions in life to share messages anytime somebody invites me to. And I'm very grateful you have invited me to share my message today.
What's your message and why should we listen to you?
One of many of my messages is that we need to learn to become our best friends and allies because God, our supreme being, created us for a purpose. And once we understand that purpose, then we need to be our own advocates and best friends so we can fulfill that purpose in life.
How can one be an enemy to oneself? And how can you go from being an enemy to an ally?
Yes, that's a great question. One can be an enemy um, depending on the programming that maybe we received as we were growing up. Those external voices that maybe diminished us or misinterpret our intentions, our actions, our behaviors as we were growing up, as we were developing. And then maybe those external voices become our internal programming, our own voice. And then now we start paying attention to that voice that we listen 24/7. And that's how we can become our worst enemy. And then we can turn that into, we can flip that or change that radio station, right? Or TV channel, is what I call it, as we reprogram or view a new programming. And that is understanding, like I said already, our purpose, our gifts and graces, and that we are humans and we're supposed to be here to live a life of fulfillment and joy.
How can you know if that voice is an ally or enemy?
That's a very good question. And if I answer, I would like also your answer, your perspective, because you and I could have different ideas. Um, but I think that we can acknowledge that that voice is an ally um, when we are joyful, when we feel happy, when we forgive ourselves, and when we are giving ourselves the opportunity to grow and learn from our mistakes or past choices that haven't been the best. But I think there's a big difference and there's a big change that happens in an individual when that voice starts working towards their own progress and joy and fulfillment. And I'm going to say joy and fulfillment so much because there's happiness and there's, hey, live one life or laugh out loud or live la vida loca kind of thing. And that's not what I mean. I know many people that have gone that route and they're not fulfilled. They don't experience joy. They experience instant gratification. They experience some satisfaction moment at the moment, but it's not long lasting. So that voice, when that voice starts talking to yourself, when you train yourself and reprogram, that voice starts whispering good things where you feel peace, calmness, some self-confidence, even though that's a long journey too to accomplish. But then you're more open. Your mind and your heart is more open to go in that direction.
So, if that voice is serving us and our purpose, then it's our ally. But if it's using us, as in for that voice to feel better and us causing to feel worse, it is our enemy. And the step to make it an ally is to dissolve the internal programming.
Basically, that's a great summary. I love it. I like the
How
words that you
can
use.
how can one start this process of dissolving the internal programming. And if that voice is telling me bad things, but things that are true and that would cause me to grow, is it an ally or is it an enemy?
Yeah. Well, I want to start with dissolving that internal programming that is not serving us is by maybe, and I say maybe because there's so many variables. Each of us are very different, and we're in different paths. We have gone through different experiences. One example, can I share an example of my personal
Please.
life? So this is a very, maybe a common example, because many households probably break at some point. I come from a household where there was a divorce. And my programming was, because I'm the youngest of four and my parents divorced when I was even in my mom's belly, or they were starting to consider a divorce. And I think I was a very young baby when they decided to separate and part ways. My programming was, I'm not good enough. They didn't fight for me. And I took that responsibility, and my programming was very sabotaging for myself. I wasn't worth fighting for. I kind of had this sensation of, or feeling of abandonment. And I was giving that a lot of weight. And finally, through the years, through my spiritual belief systems and religion, I always knew there was there, of course, self worth. And I was clinging and holding on to that spiritual self worth. At the same time, it was not logical or emotional. And I guess, unbeknownst to me, I had that void to understand my worth in a logical way, or a full comprehension rather than just a spiritual idea, which is very helpful. Um, but then, until I started my journey into life coaching, I became my own first life coach. And as I was studying or learning about some tools that we were to give our clients as coaches, as I started learning about the subconscious mind with clinical hypnosis, I realized the mind is powerful. The mind's very mighty, very powerful. And the thing is, the human mind is so imaginative and creative and capable of painting different pictures. And that can be the worst picture or the most beautiful masterpiece. And I started creating and painting a better picture for myself and about me, about my life. I was giving a lot of weight to the party that left us as a family, and realizing, listen, you have been focusing on this negative aspect. And I explained this in my book. And then I wanted to give more weight or credit to my dear loving mother that stayed with us, kept us, took care of us, provided for us, gave us the best she could. And then I'm like, I need to focus on the good. I need to let go of my preconceived ideas. Like you say a lot too, is what no longer serves me, like this poison, right? Resentment or anger. And I need to look for the good and understand that the decision my parents or my adults or grown ups in my life made on their own has nothing to do with me or my value. And that's when I dissolve that negative programming and I started to become my own best friend and ally in a more logical and emotional way.
What does self worth mean to you right now, and how did your life change when you made this shift?
Yes, so self worth means understanding the value that I have in life. I heard a wise man said the other day that God doesn't do things that are not worth it, that are not good. God makes great things, great creations. And when I started realizing I'm one of those great creations, I started boosting my confidence instead of looking down. And I'm not saying looking up high as with arrogance, it's just looking forward because I have a way to go, I have a direction to go. I understood my purpose. I started to understand that if I overcame all that programming and dissolve those negative ideas and limiting beliefs, limitations that hindered me so much, then I could, like a candle, be a light for others and help lighten up their own light so they can shine. And to me, that's self worth. When you realize your value and help others do the same.
So the first step is to embrace oneself and love oneself so you can give it to others. How did your life change by doing that?
So, yes, my life changed again. Like now I realize I am more empowered. I became a better wife. I became a better daughter. I became a better mother. Not sure if I have told you that I have 8 children. And that was my biggest dream and joy, to be a wife and a stay at home mom. And I was blessed to be able to do that. And that was my identity I was attached to for a long time. And I felt very fulfilled doing that. But children grow. And when my baby number 8 started going to school, I'm like, what am I going to do? And this is when I started my journey as a life coach, my studies in the field, and realizing my value as a different identity, somebody that could contribute to society and to the community in a different way than being a mother. And once I found my value and my identity in a different way, I started seeing the potential in others, relating to them in their struggles in some ways. And even if they went through different experiences than me, there was more empathy, more love that help me understand them so that they could to guide them and with my methodologies and tools and with their own desire to grow and to become a better person. And that fills me so much. That changes my life in a way that I can see. I was able to reprogram myself. I was able to dissolve these things. I need to be an instrument for others to do the same.
Was that the biggest challenge you faced in life?
um, oh, wow. That as the situation with my parents, or in general the reprogramming.
The journey that made you realize that you have worth.
I could say it's one of my biggest challenges. I can say that because when you asked the question, I started thinking of many other challenges. I have adult children, and when they may have may have made decisions that go against our value system or against the teachings, we try to help them understand or ingrain in them. I think my own experience of growth and in that journey have helped me understand or take upon me those adversities or those experiences better. Even a disease that my husband, a chronic disease that my husband went through, my mental attitude of positiveness and hope helped me um, confront or face a challenge in a better way, I would say. So, yes, maybe that's been my biggest challenge. And as a byproduct, it's helped me confront other challenges in a better way.
So this challenge made you grow the most.
I think so, yes. I've never been asked that question before, so I'm trying to think and reflect on them. So, thank you.
Usually, what holds people back the most is the thing that propels them the most as well when they have been able to transcend that.
Yeah.
So, growth must happen when we do the things that are the most challenging because it is like this heavy chain to our legs, enabling us to fly. And what is your mission right now?
My passion project or my mission right now is to offer this signature adventures or outdoor adventures for parents and teenagers to connect, um, for individuals to connect with themselves, for team members in a corporation to develop a better synergy and alignment amongst themselves in their work environment. So me and my business partner are in that mission to offer these outdoor retreats, outdoor adventures for people to enjoy transformation and go through many of the personal growth path that my business partner and myself have taken. And then we want to impart that joy out in nature. We love nature, both of us, my business partner and myself. We love water, and we are looking into beautiful destinations close to water, whether that's a lake, a creek, the ocean, for people to transform in during these adventures with the content and the exercises and the things we're going to offer in those adventures.
Why do you think that's important?
That is important because people are overstressed, overstimulated, burned out, and they don't take time to recharge, re energize, disconnect from their daily hustle and bustle to reconnect with the most important, whether that's themselves, deity, nature. There's studies that show that the rustling of the leaves, the sounds of the birds, even the water is very healing. And that's what we want to offer the participants of those events, those individuals.
To
And that's
heal
why that's
using
important.
nature.
Correct.
Do you have any stories of that healing?
Stories of that healing, my business partner and myself are starting to promote and launch these programs. But the reason we're doing it is because each of us individually, so we're doing this together, but each of us individually love nature so much. And one story that I have is that I participated in an adventure like this, like we want to offer, but it was offered for me, right? So I was a participant in one of these retreats, and it was a storytelling retreat in the UK, in the Isle of Wight. I was going through some challenges during that time, and I was going to have an amazing birthday, and I wanted to celebrate that year specifically. I wanted to celebrate myself, right? Self worth, invest in myself. I thought it's a business expense and it's also a personal investment and or business investment and personal investment too. And I was going through a very difficult time with my body and a challenge that I had in a joint with my body. I am an extremely active. I like to move. I did sports all the way through college. And I was having a very horrible experience because of my physical limitation that I had for like a couple of years. And when I was invited to, or I knew about this event and I signed up for it, I wanted to be myself, give myself the opportunity to grow and to accept every challenge and to absorb all the information they were going to offer for me to be a better storyteller and for me to be able to have better presentation as I spoke, but also they covered a lot of mindset. Because for you to be a good storyteller or speak in front of an audience, you need to not have fear of that, right? And be more confident and overcome those limiting beliefs in that specific area. Well, the organizer challenged us to get into those cold waters of the Isle of Wight's ocean in one of the beaches there. And I said, I am going to do it. And I took that challenge so personal. And it was going to mean something really important to me as an individual. So I'm sure you've heard about cold plunges and ice baths and all the health benefits they have for the brain, for many different conditions. So I wanted to give myself that gift. But I am terrified of cold water. I am born and raised in the Caribbean. So I'm used to the tropics. I'm used to warm water, warm showers. And I said, this is my opportunity. And I went to that retreat, to that adventure with like minded people, and it was so intimate. And I went on day one, and the last day, she was going to take us to the beach for us to do as we please with that invitation she extended. I went ahead and I was the first one in that cold water in the ocean. And I experienced the best sensation and feelings in my body, my spirit, in my soul, in my being. It was probably the healing of the water, the temperature, the salt, all of that. And I told you already, I love water. But it was just this fulfillment. It was this sense of accomplishment that I was worth it, that I wanted to challenge myself for growth. And I accepted the challenge voluntarily. And I lived up to my own word that I told myself and the participants. And I did it with great results. And that stretched me and that helped me understand what I'm capable of. And for so many of you that maybe do cold plunges every day, congratulations. But it was a big deal for me at the time of a lot of adversity, physical pain, and self doubt, even. And that was my personal experience with uh, retreat adventure in the outdoors, in nature. We had a lot of outings, a lot of hikes, and this person that did this retreat and organized it helped me grow so much. And this is one of the many stories I have about me taking time for myself, stepping away from the responsibilities of life to recharge and to learn and to grow.
So, what did you find on the other side of the fear?
I found strength, I found courage, I found, we say in the United States, I heard this saying that says can comes in cans. So I found the
Mm.
possibilities and the opportunities. And again, like my capabilities, stretching myself to do something uncomfortable and out of my comfort zone. So that's what I found. That's what it gave me. On the other side of the fear, it gave me
And
freedom, even.
seems like there was nothing to fear. Why do you think we are challenged in life?
We are challenged in life because I, I, I know you like metaphors. So if we liken this, I'm going to share a metaphor then. When we go to school, and I like school because it's kind of like a challenge that we learn and absorb this information the teacher's giving us. And then usually traditional schooling is that there's at the end of that module of those chapters, there's a test. And when is it that the teacher is quiet? Is during the test. The teacher has been there all along during the modules, the teachings, the lectures, the exercises, the discussions, the homework. But then during the test is when the teacher is quiet to prove ourselves, right? For us to show how is it that we learn? What is it that if we did the work necessary to pass the test and be successful, then to go to the next level. And I think that's why we have tests and adversity in life to test us and for us to prove ourselves that we can be challenged and then learn the lessons we need to learn You know, I have had tests from school, academic tests that I have failed. Depending on the teacher's compassion and mercy, we get certain, other opportunities so we can pick ourselves up again and prove again that, oh, okay, maybe I didn't learn it the first time, but now I understand it better. And that is why I think we go through tests or we need challenges in our life because we get stronger. It's like when we are also conditioning our muscles, we go through pain. No pain, no gain is what they say. So it helps us be stronger and resilient and develop some skills that we probably didn't realize are there within us and then come to the surface.
Who's that teacher in life that is teaching us and forcing us to grow?
I think the teacher in life is God, the master of the universe, the creator
Who
of
is
all
God?
creators. To me,
Mm.
God is the father of all the creation of all the beings, of all our spirits, and that is the teacher of teachers, doctor of doctors, lawyer of lawyers, and judge of judges.
What is faith?
What is faith? Faith is the
Yes.
belief of things that we haven't seen yet, but we hope for and we work towards. And to me, it's like a little seed. It can grow. When planted, it can grow. And it's this feeling we have that something, even though we cannot see it, is there.
Can we have faith only in this process, or can we have faith in ourselves, or God, or universe, or even llamas?
Yeah, I think we can. We can have faith, number one, of course, in God. And then as we grow and are going through this journey of self discovery, this reprogramming to understand our capabilities and our purpose, we start developing faith in ourselves. And there's a quote or a scripture that says, faith without works is null, right? So faith comes with some work that we have to do, right? We cannot think, oh,
Mm.
I'm going to obtain this and I'm going to fall in love and find my perfect match. But then you're not doing work on yourself to be the perfect match. That other person is trying to find too, right? So faith is this hope. It's so intangible, but it's so strong that it has to be there present, and you have to understand why you have that faith and what are you going to be working towards. So then through our works, that faith will turn into knowledge. And that's not faith anymore. That's evidence, there's knowledge, there's a testimony, there's a witness that happened. That's not faith anymore, that's knowledge. But we need to work with it, and we need to, and yes, in the divine, in ourselves, and in others. Because if we take a romantic relationship, for example, and finally you had the faith, you did the work to find that special partner and match, you then need to have faith in that other person, right? To understand that the other person is corresponding and reciprocating and equally committed to you. And then that's having faith in the divine, in yourself, and then in the other person. So to me, it is very important. And
So, how does faith impact our day-to-day life?
how faith impacts our day-to-day life is that it keeps us hopeful, it keeps us afloat, it keeps us with that purpose and worth that we find about ourselves. Then it keeps us motivated and it keeps us working towards it. That is to me how faith works. It keeps our things that we're a little bit worried about. In my the effect that it causes is that it eases my fears, because then with faith comes hope. Faith, hope, charity, they're those three valuable um, characteristics of a believer, of a Christian, and they come together hand in hand, those three. So faith keeps me happy and joyful and hopeful in a better life. Because if we cannot think that in a better world, because that's too much, and we need to start the person in in the reflection, in the mirror, in the reflection we see, at least is hope in a better life, because a better life is something that I can control. I cannot control the whole world, right? Because they say if you want change in the world, you need to start with yourself. So that's what faith does for me.
To change the world, you need to change yourself. I very much like that quote. Where can people find you?
People can find me on Facebook, Lori Beard, just like that. LinkedIn. There's a wonderful website that I have, a couple of them with my business partner or by myself, and I can share those with you, so you can share forward. But easy to find me on Facebook.
Lovely. Thank you so much for being my guest. I wish you all the best in the future. And I know that if you believe in yourself, have faith in yourself, you will achieve it.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for having me and for your wonderful, insightful questions.